Hello people, how are you doing? So it's a very exciting day today. We have Bitwig 4. I'm going to be doing just a little bit of a first look at the features and what I think of them and stuff like that, and maybe I might discover some things that are interesting to you. Just before I start, a bit of an apology, my window is open and a wasp has infiltrated the room. That's right, I am brave enough to sit in here with a wasp at large. But I am trying to make him leave, so the window's open. Hopefully he'll go out there, but you may hear my neighbours doing neighbour stuff in the background. Anyway, so I have played around with Bitwig 4 a little bit, just to make sure that I understood what was going on at all, before I started recording stuff, but for all intents and purposes, this is my sort of first impressions playing around with it. And I am very excited about it. The big feature, obviously, is comping, which is huge for me because I do sort of acoustic music and stuff like that as well, which historically I've recorded in Reaper just because the workflow is a little bit better. And I no longer really have to do that because a lot of what I need is now in Bitwig, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, basically we're just going to have a quick little look at some of the stuff that's been added and see how cool it is. So the first thing is comping, but we'll get back to that later. I wanted to check out, they have some new stuff in the piano roll, so let's just have a quick play around with that. I actually haven't played around with that at all. Let me just get like an 808 like drum loop thing. So just have an 808 drum loop here. I'm just gonna have a mess about with the MIDI in this and see some of the stuff. You know, I'm not likely to understand everything that's going on because obviously it only came out about an hour ago, but so now we can do like chance things. So you can have sort of a percentage chance that a note will happen. So right now, all these hi-hat notes here are, they're, you know, the 100% chance of happening. But now we can come in here to the note expressions and we can set sort of an individual chance for all of them. Let's set them to 50%. So they each have a 50% chance of happening. And then one of the things that's cool about this, so you can do this sort of stuff already with the modulators and stuff like that, but one of the implementations I think is really cool with this that I'm not sure is in other stuff, maybe it is every time it does a new run and sets the chance, it actually shows you in the piano roll which notes are going to be playing and which ones aren't. So you can see each time we're getting a change there. There's a couple of other cool things that you can do in here now as well. So you can, for instance, you can do ratchets. So let's just pick this note and extend it out. And now we can do like a ratchet here. So we might want to do another one as well. Let's do one here as well. So let's set this one to have, if we come in here, we can go to the repeats. Let's set it to have, I guess 12 repeats. That could be cool. So you can do all your really cool trap stuff. And then for this second one here, let's just set this to 100% so it plays every time. Let's set it to 24 repeats, but you can also like weight it. So like, you know, it sort of slows down or speeds up. That's cool. And then obviously we can have like a bunch of repeats. Awesome. So yeah, another thing that you can do in here is you can like spread stuff out. So I think I'm in here in the velocity. So in the velocity here, I've got them all selected. And then if I hold like shift, sorry, not shift, it's alt. If I hold alt, I can like increase this spread, velocity spread, and you can do this for pitch and I think the other pitch expressions as well. And this basically will sort of randomly choose in this range what the velocity is, so you can have some like dynamic velocity. I don't know if velocity is actually turned on in our instrument, so let's check that. So I've set it up now to respond to velocity here, so you can hear that as this is moving, we're getting variations in velocity, and then we set the range. So if we set it massively, we're going to get way bigger amounts of velocity change. So even on the pitch expressions in here, but you've got to have a point. You can't just do it on the line that's there. Maybe they should add the point by default, or maybe there's a simpler way to do this. I'm not sure. So if you set your pitch point here, let's just do it for these first few, and then you select all these, and then you hold Alt. You can do a spread on them. And then if you select all these, I'll select these now. And then if you hold Alt, you can do like a pitch spread. So let's do a pretty big pitch spread there. And it's randomly generating it each time. So you can see it's showing you where they are ending up in the pitch scale there. So that's pretty cool. So let's turn back on the rest of the drum. So yeah, then another thing is if you've got these ratchets set up, I think you have individual control over both points of the ratchet. So yeah, so you can have the velocity increase here over time during the ratchet. Didn't trigger that time. Let's go to this other one that triggers all the time. And so let's have this one start at a really high volume and then go down to a lower volume. I think maybe that's gone a bit too fast, so let's slow it down. So yeah, you can control these ratchets' velocity over time here. So you've got like additional MIDI possibilities here with clips as well. So you can set up like these recurrence patterns. So for instance, for each note here, I could say have this note. I could have this note, this first note trigger on the first and second. I could have this second note trigger on every repeat. And then I could have this one just on the last. And I guess I could have this one just here. And then this one on these three. And so on and so forth. Let's leave the others as they are. And I think if you don't mess with it, it just plays the first one over and over again. And let's just set up, a couple of these. Put that one there, and then we'll just have this one on the last one. And on this one, we will put a ratchet as well. So let's set up to have 4 repeats. Now when I play this clip, you're going to see it's going to move through these patterns, and it's going to play the note based on how I've got it set up here. So you'll see on the first pass, it's going to play that note. Second pass, it's not, but it did play this note. Third one, it's not going to play this one, but the fourth one, when it comes around again here, it does play that note because it's set up. And then this ratchet note, this is only playing the last time, so you'll see we'll have to wait for it to come around here. And this time we're going to get that ratchet note at the end. So yeah, loads of cool stuff for clips, especially for live performances. It's a really good way to organize having almost multiple clips in one clip to kind of reduce your workload and stuff like that. That's kind of cool for composing stuff as well. So I'm not going to go into too much more detail on the operators or whatever they're called operators. I'm not going to go into too much more detail on that. I'll probably do a separate video just talking about those and some of the stuff that I come up with them. Briefly going to have a look at comping as well. Let's keep the drums. Let's not get rid of those drums. Oh yeah, just one more thing on those operations that I forgot to mention is you can do it with audio as well. So I've got this audio clip here, and you can do the repeats and all that with this as well. So let's turn on the repeats here, and you'll see that you can do it as well. And you can do all the cool ratchet and stuff, and then you can squeeze it over and back like this, the same way you can with the MIDI. And you can have that go way up, to 128 repeats. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And you have the same thing with this, these repeat patterns if you've got it in a clip as well. So yeah, that's pretty sick too, that you can do that in there. Comping is something that I'm very much hyped for. I'll probably do a full video on comping where I go through recording vocals and guitar takes and stuff like that with it as well, with some cool Bitwig tricks you can do with that if I can find any. But for now, let's just have a sort of basic look at the comping and how it works and stuff like that. So I have a audio track here, and it is just set up to record this glitchmatizer preset. And this is basically just, this is just designed to create random glitchy noises, and we can mess around with the speed and length of said noises. So I'm just going to record a few passes of that, and then we're going to mess around with the comping. If you're a patron of mine, this will be included in a preset pack that I'm releasing in the next couple of days for my patrons, along with many other things. So let's just record. So basically, for the comping to work, you've got to have the overdubbing set up, I believe. So I've got overdub turned on here, otherwise it'll do the regular behavior when you loop it, where it just sort of infinitely records it onto the end of itself. And so I'm just going to set up, I guess, a 2-bar loop here, and let's just turn this up, and then let's record the comp, and I'll mess around with some of the settings here. So now I've got a bunch of takes here. Let's just get rid of some of these. I'm going to get rid of the first few because they were quite loud. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And let's just keep these. Let's just keep 4 of them. There. So now what I can do is I can basically run through here at certain... So a couple of things that it took me a little bit to notice. If you hold shift, you can snap to the grid. So you can snap to 8s or whatever you've got your grid set up to here. And also what it will do is if you just hover over something like this, it will show you the entire sort of range that's in between this and the next comp. So you can just click on it, and then it will fill the entire space. So say if I were to set up another comp over here, then I could switch out these by just clicking on them like that. Or I could switch this one here. So as the cuts are set, you just kind of click on them, it'll highlight them. So let's just move between these glitches in here and just see what we get. Let's solo that track. Okay, so it sounds pretty stupid, but we're just moving between. The other cool thing you can do in here is you can drag in. So let's drag in some sort of a drum loop. Let's drag in, I don't know, something. Let's get something kind of glitchifying. So you can just drag audio files in here as new takes. So you can just drag stuff, loops or whatever you might have, or stuff from the timeline in here, and it will show up as a new take. So now we can mix this in. So let's take elements of this. Let's bring that in as well, and let's just have small little glitches. So now I'm just kind of mixing between the drums and the glitchy stuff. Let's bring in another drum loop here, and let's fill in some of these spaces. So let's fill that in too. And let's fill that in there. Probably should take a bit more care doing this, but I'm just kind of showing you what I can do. Let's bring in something else. Let's just bring in a whole bunch of stuff. Let's bring in this, whatever this is. And then let's just randomly run through these cuts I've done here and just bring in random bits of different stuff. Let's bring in a glitch here at the end. Don't really like that, so let's fix it. So yeah, what's cool then is once you've got kind of a rhythm that you like, you can just fucking whack through here. Let's bring in that, and let's bring that over, and blah blah blah. And then you could just paste these out, and you could get little different ideas if you've got like a bunch of bass loops to mix together, or you've got a bunch of different guitar ideas that are in the same key, or a bunch of keyboard parts that are in the same key. You can just kind of whack through them and get a bunch of different ideas. And it's really, really easy to change this up. Anyway, so I'll probably, again, as I said, I'll do a tutorial on how to record like vocals and guitar and stuff like that, and comp that together easily in a good sort of workflow for that. But this is just me kind of having a quick look at what's new, and it's pretty sick, actually. It's pretty awesome. I especially love that you can just drag whatever you want into these comping lanes and then comp them all together. That's just really cool. Anyway, so let me know if there's anything cool that you found, maybe that I didn't cover, any kind of cool use for the new features that maybe I didn't see. And also hit subscribe and like the video, and hit subscribe again. No, actually don't do that, because I'll unsubscribe you. Just hit subscribe once. Thanks very much, and goodbye.